Bill Wise, CEO of Mediaocean. Mediaocean was formed about 5 years ago off of the merger of two different companies. For the last 50 years, we've been kind of that operating system behind ad agencies, primarily media buying ad agencies. And over the last few years, we've really diversified our product offering to be able to offer planning, buying, and selling solutions for the advertising industry. So we are kind of that system of record for the ad industry and for the media industry. We're making an announcement at Cannes around IBM and Mediaocean working on an industry solution, a blockchain solution for the advertising and media industry. We actually met with all the blockchain providers, and we were going back and forth, and it was really the combination of taking both the technology solutions as well as the market solutions. So meeting Babs and his team and going with IBM to the blockchain garage and really kind of putting those two together is what I think makes this a special partnership. We, in concert with IBM, we're launching the Mediaocean blockchain. It's both with IBM from a technology perspective as well as a business partnership. We've gone out and secured some of the largest brands in terms of marketers to be part of our consortium pilot. And based on those brands, we're then working with their agencies, we're working with players in the supply chain, and we're working with media partners and TV broadcasters in the end. You know, if P&G is spending $1 on programmatic, you know, only 35 cents ends up with the consumer or the publisher. So that means there's 60 to 65% of tax going to the middle. And that's not sustainable. You know, that if we think about digital overtaking TV in terms of ad spend, we can't work under those economics. It's not efficient for marketers or for publishers. So Mediaocean's been spending a lot of time on how we can bring back efficiency to the principles of the business. And I think that's a big opportunity we have here with IBM. We hope to create a very comprehensive solution because 50% of all ad spend currently goes through Mediaocean systems. We think that it's going to be the most comprehensive solution for the industry, and it's going to solve things like transparency. It's going to solve things like inefficient supply chain management. The only way this is going to be successful is if we have the vibrancy of the entire market. So, you know, this is not going to be successful if it's just a handful of marketers and a handful of publishers and a bunch of ad tech companies in the middle. This is going to be an industry solution. You're going to want to be part of this. If we can answer any questions, we're happy to reach out to whoever you know at Mediaocean or at IBM, and we can't wait to work with you.
Over the past 20 years, we've seen a lot of changes in the way people get their music. But one thing that hasn't changed is how difficult it is for most musicians to make a living off of their art.
It's the back end of the music industry that's the issue. You know, the inefficient licensing, the unfair album deals, that's not something we want to see, and that's not the world or the future we want to live in.
New breakthroughs in technology have potentially offered a solution that would bypass middlemen like publishers and distributors who are notorious for exploiting a system that has been slow to adapt.
Having that creative freedom or freedom to fail and try different things is huge for art. I mean, that's the goal, right? That's the ultimate dream as a musician, is to be able to really do whatever you want and not have to worry about the financial aspect of it. Things need to get better and things need to get faster for art, for this to be sustainable.
Some artists have already begun to adopt this new technology. Grammy-winning producer RAC has just released his latest album, Ego, on the Ethereum blockchain, in an effort to highlight the technology, its capabilities, and how the creative industry can use it to return power back to the artists and content creators.
I think one of the ways it'll help the music industry is just to streamline that connection in between the artist and the fan.
I can go in and I can buy music directly from an artist. I can license directly from an artist. And this all happens instantly without any type of intermediaries kind of in between.
I worked very hard on this album, so you know I want to sell it directly to people, and people want to give their currency to me directly. So why can't we make that transaction? Why do we need a bank? Why do we need, you know, a service for that? There's an opportunity here to really make all of that quicker and automatic.
Currently, we're using Web 2.0 essentially, which has a bunch of centralized, powerful entities that control your access to the system, that often charge you a little piece of your soul or your identity. So we're moving into a Web 3.0 infrastructure that instead of one major entity that is controlling, owning, gating, or monetizing the whole thing, everybody will participate much closer to equally.
The blockchain is a permanent, unchangeable, and publicly transparent record-keeping system on which all information will live and where exchanges can take place, bringing more power to the people while maintaining users' anonymity and privacy. It serves as a shared infrastructure layer for two interacting parties, say a consumer and a musician, to hold programs that execute a transaction. Because it's a shared and fault-tolerant system, the musician can rely on getting paid when a fan uses it. For example, RAC has an album that he wants to sell directly to his fans. Instead of going through publishers, distributors, and other third-party service providers, RAC uses Ujo's artist portal built on the Ethereum blockchain. He creates a smart contract, which is an agreement codified and enforced by computer language that is programmed to release and send the album when it receives a specific amount of Ether. A fan who wants to buy the album converts US dollars to Ethereum's Ether currency. With their newly purchased Ether, the fan clicks buy on the Ujo portal and immediately receives a download of the album in their choice of format. Concurrently, RAC immediately receives the Ether exchanged in the transaction. This transaction is validated and recorded on the public Ethereum blockchain ledger system. With this system, there becomes little need for middlemen like BMI or ASCAP to facilitate the same transaction, ultimately sending the artist a check weeks or months later. This use case within the art and entertainment community extends into the realm of finance, politics, transportation, agriculture, and beyond. There are few limits to what blockchain tech can and will do.
We're trying to create a system that's fair for the artists, first and foremost, right? To us, the most important thing with whatever we build is that the artists get paid. We want to see more music, more art, more creativity. You know, we don't want to see the artists become the bottom of the totem pole, really, at the end of the day. We don't, they already are, and it's time to really put them back into the forefront.
Part of the thing that I want to get across with this album is that this is really more of a proof of concept to show what can be done, to have something that is fully on the blockchain, that is completely decentralized, completely removed from, one single point of failure.
We're not necessarily, trying to put anyone out of business. We love music, we love what it's given us and kind of where it's put us today, but we're trying to cut out the people that extract more value than they provide, because it's not fair, right? It's not fair to the artists that spend hours sitting in their bedroom on their laptops, that spend hours in the studio recording, that put their blood, sweat, and tears really into their music and get paid pennies on the dollar when, someone else is making 50 cents on the dollar.
Hopefully, I think the idea, and I think this is Tesla's model, is if you make it so much better and so much easier, then people will have to go to that system.
How do we get the average consumer involved? We don't. We get software developers involved, and some of these software developers sitting behind me are focused on bringing consumers into the space.
It's an exciting time. This is still very early, and if you think about the potential, it could be everything. It could be the backbone of a new internet.
It's time to rethink a lot of the problems that we had in the music industry. It's time to rethink how we do things and to reimagine that and get more creative with the music industry, because I think this is just the beginning of what we're capable of, and I don't even think we understand the impact that this could have on the future.
Every day, the world sees millions of shipping containers in motion. A minor miracle of logistics, coordination, and communication. But how well can you see the ones that matter most to you? TradeLens is a blockchain-powered shipping solution that brings unprecedented transparency, trust, and collaboration to global supply chains. TradeLens offers the oversight, control, and management every stakeholder in the supply chain needs. Ocean carriers, ports, terminal operators, inland carriers, shippers, freight forwarders, customs authorities, financial service providers, and more. TradeLens has a powerful API model, but it's easy to use the web interface to deliver value and insights right out of the box. To help illustrate the impact of TradeLens, let's follow 480 LED televisions from inland China through a series of events, including arrival at the Port of Savannah to their final destination in Dublin, Georgia. TradeLens lets us find our container through a range of search parameters, such as equipment number, bill of lading number, booking number, and more. Viewing the container shipment card shows the important information related to the container shipment. In the transport plan, you can see the key milestones on the shipment's timeline. While this shipment contains over 50 events, TradeLens supports over 120 planned, estimated, and actual events, all tracked instantaneously, all viewable at the click of a button, giving detailed insights up and down the supply chain. Powerful filters can be applied to the events list, a capability that allows for isolating entries with document associations. Structured or unstructured documents can be uploaded or published to TradeLens by an array of providers. When this happens, an encrypted hash of each document is stored in the TradeLens blockchain. Perhaps the most significant aspect of TradeLens is the dynamic and sophisticated ability to control who has access to view and manage documents at each stage of a shipment, providing an encrypted audit trail of all critical actions. The benefits of TradeLens really deliver when the planned turns into the unplanned. At the early stages of this journey, an unforeseen circumstance leads to a change in the transport plan. Due to newly imposed draft restrictions, the carrier must discharge the container in Busan. From there, the container is booked upon a second vessel, lengthening the ocean voyage to Savannah by 36 hours. The carrier's decision has implications not just for them, but for all stakeholders further down the supply chain, from customs brokers, port authorities, and terminal operators to inland transporters and consignees. With TradeLens, changes to this shipment are reflected immediately, allowing supply chain partners to tightly coordinate actions, delivering the consignee's inventory in Dublin with 36 fewer hours than originally planned. TradeLens allowed near-instant logistical adjustments, so disruption was kept to a minimum. Global trade is an incredibly complex system, but with TradeLens and blockchain technology, we now have a trusted solution to support industry-wide innovation. TradeLens. Trade made easy.